We're going to take a look at some absolute value word problems. We'll have two examples today, and then we'll look at a couple of these incorporated in with our other absolute value questions that we've been working on. This is actually essentially in some ways working backwards from the solution to the inequality. What it does is it gives us a margin of error. It gives us a bound here for a range of values that are possible. So let's consider the fact that you work in the quality control department of a manufacturing company. The diameter of a drill bit must be between 0.62 inches and 0.63 inches. We're asked to write an absolute value inequality to represent this requirement. So let's consider the fact that the least it can be is 0.62. and the greatest it can be is 0.63. So that would essentially look like an answer for one of our previous problems. But it's a place where we start this one. The very first thing that we need to do is to find the midway point between 0.62 and 0.63. And this will be a problem-solving strategy for these, is to find the halfway point. In this case, that is 0.625. So that's our halfway point. And what we are going to do here is subtract this from all three parts of this inequality. Subtract 0.625 on the left, the middle, and the right. So what this ends up being is 0.62 minus 0.625 is less than x minus 0.625 is less than 0.63 minus 0.625. I'm running out of room there. Okay, but those are all there. Okay, how this simplifies is this left side becomes 0.005. This side becomes negative 0.005 less than x minus 0.625 is less than positive 0.005. So now we have this between a negative and a positive. They're the same thing. This goes along with our and inequalities, saying that this is now the absolute value of x minus 0.625 is less than 0.005. That would be our absolute value inequality. So that is saying that this cannot vary by 0.625 by more than 0.005 inches. That is saying we have a 0.005 inch margin of error that we could be off by on the drill bits. So now a bit has a diameter of 0.623. Does it meet the requirement? Well, we can check that by substituting it in for x. 0.623 minus 0.625. That's actually equal to 0.002, which is less than 0.005. Which I know I ran out of some room there. But yes, that would meet our requirement for that particular problem. So to review, we write the compound inequality. We subtract the midway point between those two endpoints from all three parts. We simplify that subtraction and get an absolute value inequality from that. We'll have a formal summary at the end. One more problem here along the same lines. To pass inspection, a computer part must measure between 0.0049 millimeters and 0.0051 millimeters. So again, we now have a compound inequality essentially given to us here. We have 0.0049 is less than x, is less than 0.0051. Again, what looks like would be an answer for us is now going to be part of the beginning of our problem here. Again, I have to find the midway point of those two things, which I add them together and then divide by 2. And in this case, the midway point is 0.005. And I'm going to subtract that from both sides, all three parts of this inequality. I'm going to subtract 0.005. We get what do we get there? Sorry about that. We get here, what we end up getting here on the left side is negative 0.0001 is less than x minus 0.005 is less than positive 0.0001. Again, it's looking like I have the same thing on both ends, it's just one's positive and one's negative. So this looks like an absolute value inequality here. So I end up rewriting this as the absolute value of x minus 0.005 is less than 0.0001. That is our absolute value inequality. We are checking that to make sure everything is within 0.001. That is our margin of error in this case. Now a part measures 0.00495. So we plug that in. We get 0.00495 minus 0.005. We take the absolute value of that. And we end up getting here 0.00005 is less than 0.0001, which is true. Yes, that part would work for this. Our final summary, you might want to write these steps down. It's the process we'll take. These will take some more practice, but this will give us the steps we need to use for each one of those practice problems we do. So we want to start by writing a compound inequality for the given scenario. Again, that is the type of thing that looks like the answer to some of our old problems. We then find the halfway point between the given values, and what that is that's the average. Okay, add those two up and divide by 2. Once we have that value, our third step is to subtract that halfway value from each part of the compound inequality, left, middle, and right. And then once we have done that, we will rewrite that as an absolute value inequality. Again, those are the basic steps. I understand that it probably doesn't seem that basic right now. We'll get some more practice in with these word problems, and I think we'll become more comfortable with them once we do a few on our own. And we will be doing that tomorrow during class. Have a great night.